purpose of the experiment is to see how long the shell material lasts on the seafloor when the living critter is not making and repairing the shell. And so this is related to ocean acidification, how acidic are the Antarctic waters, and we're trying to see how long it takes for these shells then to dissolve in the water and then not be part of eventually the fossil record. So if they dissolve within 2 years, then we're not going to have a very good fossil record of Antarctic seafloor critters. We know very little about extreme polar environments, and we want to know why. Is it because once the animal lives and then it dies, does the shell get dissolved right away? And no one's done any experiments to find out if the shell just dissolves rapidly within 2 years. And if the shell does dissolve rapidly within 2 years, then we're not going to have a fossil record. So the ancient age of polar organisms is not going to be well understood. These bags had been in the water for 2 years. We picked them up in 2010, so they went down in 2008, and then the divers picked them up 2 years later. The textbooks say that these shells should dissolve relatively rapidly. I expected I would have nothing left of my experiments after 2 years. What happened was every single one of my shells in these little bags were fine. They had not dissolved at all. Well, the conclusion is that the acidity of seawater here is good for the preservation of these shells. The fossil record then of this particular area in Antarctica should be pretty good, but this is only on the surface of the sediment. What happens if then these experiments are buried by sand? Because the acidity below the sediment could be much higher, and we could be losing most of the record of these shells once they're buried. Usually, paleontologists think that once a shell is buried, it's going to survive to become part of the fossil record. But perhaps here, that might not be the case. There could be, once a shell is buried, the acidity of the water between the spaces of the sand grains while it's buried could be more acidic than the surrounding seawater that flushes daily with the tides and things like that.